Good evening, council members. First, before I say anything else, Mayor Frutos, in your summary, you used two terms that kind of, I'm going to say, troubled me, and they troubled me because I disagreed with them. You said that there were no binding obligations in what we're doing tonight, and you said tonight's vote is to begin this long process. However, there was a staff report from Mark Scott written on October 27th. And in that, which was for the prior meeting when this item was scheduled, it says under discussion, the conceptual term sheet is a simple outline of elements that, if endorsed by the council and authority, will be the cornerstone for the many legal documents needed for approval of a 14-gate replacement terminal. I'm sorry, but that does not say no binding obligations, and that does not say it's only part of a process. What it says is a yes vote tonight sends staff off to draft the legal language to implement this into a proposal for a 14-gate terminal. I've got an issue with that. Like a lot of speakers, I think there really has been no public outreach, no public discussion whatsoever in terms of any of this. It's all been behind closed doors in closed session. Then I look at the actual term sheet. Why it's called a term sheet, I don't know. Somebody made the comment they'll refer to it as the replacement terminal plan. Much better language. A term sheet to most people is something you wrote in high school or college. It is not what this is. This would be bargaining points, bargaining positions. It's not a term sheet. But if it were a term sheet and I were still teaching and it were given to me, it would get an F. I'm very serious. And I'll tell you why. First of all, I love the segregation, the terms where it will not be more than a 14-gate terminal. It will not be more than 355,000 square feet. But then I'm going to put it in my terminology. Comes the page that says, we promise you this unless we change our minds. Because that's really what it is with the supermajority. Now, I know we should all feel great confidence in the supermajority, but I'm going to be very honest, I don't. And the reason I don't, and the reason I don't believe any of you should, is let's take one example. They will not acquire additional land to expand the terminal or the footprint of the airport without a supermajority, right? But now think about it. All of you have been on the council long enough to know if the city were talking about acquiring or selling land, where would that take place? It would be in closed session, wouldn't it? And if it's in closed session, you're prohibited from telling others about it, correct? So how do our airport commissioners tell us that they're even considering doing that? It's in closed session. I'm going to guess the answer is they don't. So how are you even going to know they're considering doing it? I don't believe you are. So then we're going to be in a situation where, if it moves forward, what are we going to say afterwards? Well, that was in closed session. We didn't know about it. Well, I'm back to, we promise you we won't unless we change our minds. That's what it comes down to. Let me run to a couple of other things. I am greatly bothered by this cornerstone draft the legal language moving forward. And number one, all discretionary and ministerial approvals, including bond indebtedness obligations, we're guaranteeing it? Wait a minute. You deal with discretionary approvals. Staff deals with administrative. Discretionary approvals and land use, think about that term. Those things require traditionally public hearings. So if they require public hearings, how are we even putting in as a cornerstone that we're going to guarantee predetermined results in public hearings before they take place? Now let's take it a step further. The bonding, the financing. As I said to you last week, to my recollection, and Mr. Rogers said he had the same recollection, yes, the airport always has to come to the city of Burbank for the TEFRA hearings. The reason is it's an unelected body. It is not really a true governmental body. So it has to come to the jurisdiction that is. A public hearing must be held. So again, we're saying in this cornerstone, staff march forward, draft the legal language and documents, that we're going to guarantee in public hearings an approval before the hearings have even taken place. Now, I'm supposed to have some confidence in protections with these kind, I'm going to say, of flaws in the proposals. And why are flaws like this even in the proposals if it's the cornerstone, march forward, draft the legal documents?
Thank you, Mr. Piroli. Cecilia Wagers?